Hello my friends and welcome back. I've been waiting for this article for about 4 years, 3 years, around 3 years. And here it is. Mr. Vindman, Lieutenant Colonel, Army retired Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, Alexander Vindman. He is now back as a hero. Now let me give you a little bit of a little biography about this guy who you have to read between the lines when you read about this kind of people. He was a refugee or immigrated from the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union. He was born in Ukraine. He is a Zelensky, okay, and a Zmihal, all right. So he is a Rubinstein, Epstein. He's so he emigrated you couldn't emigrate whenever you wanted from the Soviet Union, let's put it this way, but because he was Jewish he could do that because there were some deals made by the communists with international Jewish organizations from different countries, where they would pay money for the certain governments for how many Jews they would allow to immigrate or be considered refugees. They would come to the United States, and Israel, I think they would have at least two options, and these were the options: United States or, so I know that from Romania, communist Romania, that the Romanian government allowed a certain number of Jews from Romania. If they want to leave Romania, that's fine. They would get money from the Jewish organizations, and they could go to Israel, straight to Israel, or straight to the United States, whatever they picked. A lot of people went just like that. As a Romanian, you couldn't leave the country, but as a Jew, you could, and you are a refugee, and you say bye-bye to the communism of Karl Marx's communism, which Karl Marx was another Zelensky, like Yogoda and Kaganovich and Trotsky and others. But it's okay, they dumped the shit, and now they go to the United States to, anyway. So this is Vindman. He came at the top of the United States, and now he got in the ranks, and he's got to be a lieutenant colonel. Good for him. He had an office somewhere in Europe, and while in Europe he was offered by the Ukrainian government to be a defense minister on 3 occasions, and last time by his buddy Zelensky, and he refused. He refused because he was that would mean some kind of I don't know if it's treason or not. I don't want to say it was, but you couldn't, because your allegiance, you swore allegiance as a military to the United States. You can't have it for both. Now I don't know now if he is allowed being a retired, but look what's going on here. This article comes from The Hill from today, August 16th, and said, Vindman on the ground in Ukraine. I think that I can help. So he offers his services. The retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Zelensky offers his services to another Zelensky president, and vice president another Zelensky, for a country that's not Zelensky. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have 3 Zelenskys right there, and he's got I think Alexei, I can't remember, Reznikov. I think he's another Zelensky, I'm not sure. So Ukrainians are all have a Zelensky leadership, like Soviet Union at the beginning, remember? With Stalin, he was not a Russian. Trotsky, not a Russian. What's his name? Lenin, not a Russian. And more of this. It was a study. Great Britain sent a guy, I think from intelligence community, I can't remember his name. He sent after the Bolsheviks got the power in the Soviet Union, in Russia, got the power. He was sent over there to figure out who's who, what's what, to make some connections. And when he came back, he wrote his report that the so-called Russian government has nothing to do with Russians. And they found, I think, like 80 or 90% of the leadership of the Soviet Union were non-Russians. So yeah, Zelensky, Zmihal, I don't know, Reznikov, and now they want Vindman. There's gonna be all of them dancing hora over there, and we'll say a little bit of how do you call that? Anyway, so he said here that He said that on Twitter Tuesday that he had traveled to Ukraine to help the country in its war with Russia. I'm in Ukraine in a war zone because I think I can help, wrote Vindman, who fled Soviet-era Ukraine when he was 3 years old with his family. He fled. When they use this kind of euphemism, for me, it's like laughable because he fled. I mean, some people fled, but in his case, he didn't fly. He didn't fled. He didn't do anything. He was just deal and he left nicely. So he said he is spending his time meeting with senior military and political leadership so he can learn more about the war and inform the public and other leaders of how it might end. This war is the most important geopolitical blah blah blah. I don't care what you think. Vindman served during the Trump administration as the director of European Affairs of the National Security Council until February 2020. In 2019, he testified to Congress regarding a phone call former president had with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. In the call, Trump linked military aid for Ukraine, blah, 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 blah. He said something, and then in the call, they tried to shit on Trump, but actually he lost his job during that impeachment. So he was one of the key witnesses who actually incriminated himself. I have another article to discuss about that. So he was one of the guys who tried to cut his boss, which was Trump. And here we have an article from guess when? And from November 19th, 2019. This comes from Fox News, and it says Vindman testifies he was asked to be Ukraine defense minister. So he testified Thursday as part of the House impeachment inquiry that he was asked to serve as Ukraine defense minister, but repeatedly denied the offer when he traveled to Kiev for the inauguration of President Volodymyr Zelensky. Yeah, and no connection, just friends. And it says Vindman confirms Ukraine offered him defense minister post 3 times. This is from Breitbart. This is November 19, the same. And it says here that he was offered 3 times, and the last time when he went for the inauguration of Zelensky. And let's see what's going to be. At any point during my trip, did Mr. Danyaluk offer you a position defense minister with the Ukraine government? The Republican Council's Steve Castor asked Vindman. He said he did, Vindman said. And how many times did he do that? Castor asked. I believe it was 3 times, Vindman. And do you have any reason why he asked you to do that? No, I don't know. But every single time I dismissed it. Upon returning, I notified my chain of command and appropriate counterintelligence folks about the offer, he said. That was a big honor, correct? Castor asked. Vindman, who immigrated from Ukraine to America as a child, responded, I think it would be a great honor, and frankly, I'm aware of service members that have left service to help nurture the developing democracies in that part of the world. So yeah, I would take it gladly. But he added, I am an American. I came here as a toddler and immediately dismissed these offers. I did not entertain them. Now you are. But he called the notion comical since he just a lieutenant colonel. He did not leave the door open at all. There are honorable people. I'm not sure if he meant it as a joke or not. 3 times. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is what he said. And then I have another article here from New York Post. Alexander Vindman condemns himself in his impeachment testimony. He said he said that Commander-in-Chief ought to be fired. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, who serves as a National Security Council for rank insubordination. That is the key takeaway from Thursday hearing in a Democratic impeachment push. So for insubordination, so he testified against himself. And what he did, he was unreliable and had questionable judgment, according to his own outgoing superior, Tim Morrison, the National Security Council Senior Director for European Affairs. In fact, Morrison viewed Vindman as so untrustworthy that he opted to excuse him from his conversations with William Taylor, the senior U.S. diplomat in Ukraine. So double agent or something. Vindman had an unfortunate habit, Morrison thought, of defying the sprawling executive branch's careful delineated chain of command. Vindman's testimony vindicates Morrison's dripping disdain for his former subordinate. The officer who testified, Vindman, that he has never spoken directly with the president, Trump, nonetheless admitted to advising Zelensky as how to comport himself in his communication with Trump. Did you hear that? He never spoke with Trump, but he spoke with Zelensky and told Zelensky how to behave and how to comport, to talk to so Zelensky, there's another Zelensky, and Trump is his boss. Thank you very much. What's that called? Anyway, and it says here that to be sure, it is approximate for top-level national security advisor to offer substantive opinions to the president, but Vindman has testified that he never even directly communicated with Trump. If Vindman actually attempted to deliberately thwart or undermine the duty enacted president's foreign policy agenda, then he was attempting to unconstitutionally carry out the executive power that the Constitution of the United States vets into the President as the United States role. And says this straightforward remedy for Vindman's insubordination ought to be his prompt dismissal from his perch on the National Security Council, and he was out. So it says executive power, especially in the areas of foreign policy and national security, flows from the very person of the president. A lieutenant colonel has no right to interfere with the president's discretion or attempt to undermine the president's authority over policy disagreements, which is what the impeachment's allegations amount to. Whatever, I'm not going to go into politics. The thing is, this guy spoke with Zelensky, and and he was offered 3 times. So it's very, very slippery guy. Now he's, I'm going to just offer my expertise to the Ukrainian people, and I'm going to help my Zelensky and my Shmihal to beat the 3 of us, maybe possibly 4 of us, with Alexander Zhirinovsky, whatever his name is. So this weasel Vindman, he's no good. He's no good. And look, he's going to probably go over there. He's gonna do what he does best, and that's a knife. Okay, what I have here. He's gonna take care of stuff. I don't know. It's just I never liked the guy. He was a weasel. He was a no good. But he's back. Goes back over there. He's not gonna be a defense minister or anything, but he's gonna be helping the Ukrainian people. Well, I wish him the best, if you know what I mean. I hope he goes to Ukraine. I hope he goes in the front, and I hope the Russians will talk to him. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. Vindman.